What about employers? Do they ever jump in this game?
We see employers providing malpractice coverage for their employees as part of their contract. In this situation, it's not necessarily bad. It sounds great, right? You're going to work for a company and they're like, hey, your malpractice insurance is free, it's on us. But that's not where it should stop. You really need to know who's protecting you. And so any dentist that's considering this as an option, we recommend they ask the following questions. They go to their employer and they say, what policy type am I getting? And if it's claims made, who's going to purchase the tail coverage if I leave? They need to ask the employer why they chose to work with this company. What did this company or carrier sell them on? They need to make sure that the coverage that they're getting, the actual policy type, what's included or not included in that policy, that matters to that dentist. And then ultimately, if they were given the choice to choose this carrier for themselves, would they? And based on their answers to these questions, they should make a decision with their employer on whether they take that free coverage or they go out and look for their own.
As people get offered free coverage, how do we dive deeper? How do you specifically navigate that pathway?
Outside of asking those questions, they should have honest, transparent conversations with their potential employer up front about what their options are, if they're allowed to opt out, if they're allowed to look at other options. If the employer is like, I pay this much for the coverage here, I'll give you that much towards whatever coverage you want to look for. They need to have those options because you don't want a free policy that you take up front ending up costing you thousands down the road.
Have you seen somebody get that free policy and then it impacted them later on?
We have, absolutely. We have had, especially with new dentists, this is a very popular thing when they're not the ones starting the practice. So they're going to work for someone and they choose to take the free policy without vetting it out. And then a few years down the road, they leave the practice to go elsewhere. A lot of the time it's because they now can open their own practice. They've financially budgeted to be able to open their own. They buy the building, they hire their team, they get the equipment, it's a great time. But sometimes what happens with that free coverage is that now they have to pay for what's backdated coverage, also known as tail coverage, to keep them protected from the time they were at the group practice. So they weren't aware of that. They haven't financially budgeted for a $1,000 tail coverage policy, and now they're stuck with an extra expense that they were unaware they had.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.